Today, the defense makes their case in the sex trafficking and racketeering case against Sean Diddy Combs. Closing arguments began yesterday. Federal prosecutors say Combs committed hundreds of racketeering acts over his career, using his employees to commit crimes. Combs denies the charges. His lawyers say nobody ever agreed to join a criminal conspiracy. After the defense finishes up, the prosecution will get a rebuttal. That case then goes to the jury. Joining us now to talk about this is attorney Areva Martin. Thank you for joining us again, Areva.
Good morning.
So a lot of people were surprised that the defense did not call any witnesses at all. What do you make of that? Is that they are confident that they don't need to rebut any of the prosecution witnesses?
Well, you can look at it a couple of ways, Robin. Typically, when a defense doesn't put on any witness, it is a signal that they believe the case is so strong. They believe that the prosecution has not done its job in terms of meeting its very heavy burden of proof in terms of proving that crimes were committed beyond a reasonable doubt. Other times, it may mean that there were not any witnesses that could really substantially refute the evidence that was put on by the prosecution. Hard to tell in this case. We know that Combs's lawyers have put a lot of confidence, or they've staked their claim on the fact that there are these text messages and emails and other evidence that show that the two main witnesses, Cassie Ventura and the woman who testified under the name of Jane, that both of them at times willingly participated in these hotel events, these freak-offs, and that they were willing participants in romantic relationships with Combs, and that they were not coerced or in any way forced to participate in sex trafficking acts.
Prosecution already had their closing arguments. They went on for about 5 hours. They really hammered this racketeering angle. Do you think they've proven their case?
I think it was a powerful presentation by the prosecution, longer than they had anticipated. They thought it would be about 4 hours. It ended up going into the 5th hour, but they really laid out in painstaking detail all of the crimes that were committed and asked the jury to use its common sense. And I think something else that was really powerful was pointing out that even if there was one incident of forced sex with sex workers that were brought across state line, that would be enough to prove the elements of the crimes that have been charged. And also with respect to the drugs, the prosecutor said even if there was one pill, one illegal piece of drugs purchased by an employee at the bequest of Combs, that again would be sufficient to satisfy the elements of the crimes that were charged. Now, we know we're going to hear today a lot about voluntary participation by many of the witnesses that have testified during this trial.
So today, just as a recap here, if people are like casually following this, the defense is going to give their closing arguments today. Is that correct? And then the prosecution has a chance, and then where do we go from there?
Correct. So prosecution goes first. They did that yesterday. Today we'll hear from the defense. They probably will go about 3 or 4 hours. And then you get what's called rebuttal. So the prosecution will have the last word. They'll get probably an additional 45, maybe even an hour to go back and rebut whatever was said by the defense. And then the judge will give the very, very important jury instructions. Probably will take about an hour or two going through in great detail the jury instructions that the jurors are to follow once they start deliberating. Given the time, not likely that deliberations will start this afternoon. If so, it'll be late in the afternoon, but more likely that deliberations will start fresh on Monday morning. Court will be out at least one day next week because of the holiday.
All right, attorney Areva Martin, we appreciate you joining us again.
Thank you.
Thank you.